Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 12th day of April. We are right in the thick of these playing games, folks. I want to say Toronto, last I checked, Toronto was leading in their game against, who are they playing now? I'm just now watching their score here. Either way, yeah, so I think they're probably going to win tonight. I forgot who they're. Up 50 to 41 over Chicago. Got Jeffrey Deskovic going to come in here. I'm going to ask him about the Kyrie Luka situation. What does he think about that? We'll go over the first round of the playoffs, and again tomorrow I'll give you what my top 11 would be if I'm the general manager of these teams. And of course, Friday, Carlos Mad New Yorker Chavez will be in here. Thank you, Pickles. Yeah, Bulls, Raptors up here. I'm surprised Raptors aren't having a better season. I mean, I guess, injuries and stuff can catch up with anybody. Either way, we'll go ahead and take our first and only break, and I'll be back here in 49 seconds. We'll hit the ground running here on Sportscope. Hello, Sportscope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sportscope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. Alrighty then, I'm back here live. Now, I'll say this. I was reading this article here about Giannis Antetokounmpo, and as you know before, I think that Giannis is probably the best player in the league. He's definitely my favorite player in this league. He's one of the only few. I want to say this season, Giannis. I was reading this. This was from Fox Sports. Giannis became the first player in NBA history to average more than 30 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists per game, more than 55% from the field. The Bucks finished regular season best record. He gets my MVP. I've talked about Giannis before. And, back in 2020, he signs the biggest contract in NBA history. And he just says, it's a lot of pressure. And I actually thought about walking away from the game because I didn't want to look like I'm paraphrasing, mailing it in. People said, you're crazy for walking away from that money. And he's like, bleep you, it's a lot of pressure out here. But, obviously he goes on. The guy wins multiple MVPs. He wins Defensive Player of the Year. And then he wins his first championship for Milwaukee in 50 years. Giannis ultimately decided not to retire. This article says, returned to Milwaukee where he led the Bucks to their first title in 50 years, also won Finals MVP in that series. That's the guy. Yeah, he's very old school, plays both ends of the floor. I'm really having a hard time picking between them and Boston to win this whole thing. Only reason I would lean towards Boston because Boston matches up well against them. But other than that, I don't see anybody stopping this team. And the fact that he said what he said, that 5-year, $228 million contract back in 2020, he did this interview with the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. And, I just love that type of attitude where people give a crap what they do. They put a lot of, and like Pickle says, that's very old school. He's an old soul. And I know he's not an American player, but this has been a global game for quite a few years now, if you guys think about it. And I've read about his regimen this is going back a few years. He's big at taking naps before games, letting his body re-energize. He was afraid he wouldn't live up to that contract. Instead of saying that, this country owes him something, he's overly grateful, and he didn't want to feel like he was stealing. He didn't want to feel like he was stealing because he didn't think he could live up to it. Obviously, he did. Sometimes that pressure, that kind of energy where you feel that pressure, you can channel that into doing great things. Some people rise up when they get under that kind of pressure. I have moments in my life where, I felt like I was under a lot of pressure to, for instance, graduate high school, and it was at my own doing of just messing around, effing off, for lack of a better word. And I needed to pass a few classes, and I needed to make like a B and a C on some very difficult, one being a French exam. And, I could feel that pressure like nobody's business. Like Charles Barkley said, I wanted to walk with my class. Barkley failed Spanish, and he didn't get to walk with his class out of high school. And he used that motivation from that to become great throughout Auburn into his first few years in the NBA. That's what he says. That's not my words. But going back to my situation, I was like, I'm not going to let this happen. I was sitting at a table like I am right now. And when I got off of school at around 2:00 that day, I studied that French, man, from 2:30 that afternoon to I could not hold my eyes open at 10:30 that night on Saturday. Did the same thing Saturday, Sunday, all the way up to the test time, and aced that test. But kind of remind you of that song "Under Pressure" by Queen. Couldn't believe it. The French teacher, she thought I was going to cheat. She put me out in the hallway and watched every question I answered. She was so stunned by how well I did on that test. She called my mom that day. My mom reminds me of that ever so often. But Giannis, he said, man, I don't know. He said, let me see exactly what he says. He said, quote, everybody's looking at me, and I was crazy. He said, Giannis, seriously, considered retiring from NBA shortly after signing a 5-year, $228 million contract with the Milwaukee Bucks in 2020. Everybody's looking at me like I was crazy, Antetokounmpo said. This is from the article. You just signed the largest contract in NBA history, and you want to walk away from the game and all that money? Man, you could take that money and shove it into your bleep, ... Sorry for my language, Giannis says. He said at the time his extension was the richest contract, and he struggled to meet expectations to come with that contract. In the season before he signed the contract, he became the third player in NBA history to win MVP and Defensive Player in the same season. I know the other one. I don't know the other two, but I know that Jordan did that. The last one to do it was Jordan, 1988, Pickles. He won Defensive Player of the Year. He won MVP. So Giannis, I think he's only 28. I mean, this guy's special, man. I think, if he could keep this up another 4 or 5 years, maybe they get another player. I know that Brook Lopez is long in the tooth. Middleton's hit and miss. Maybe replace one of those players. Maybe get another big there. And if this guy can win 2 or 3 more rings, he's an all-timer, if you ask me. But it's very hard to do that. And I know he's the best player in the game right now, me personally. And he don't have the prettiest shot. I get it. Doesn't shoot the 3 all the time. But, not everybody's got to be Steph Curry. A great defender, hustles to the ball, gets the ball inside when he needs to, makes the big defensive play. And that's what I like about Giannis. He plays that side of the ball. Okay. These players, best one way, best two way. Remember, you hear that a lot when you hear people describe a guy like Kawhi Leonard a few years ago. Best two-way player in the game. Well, you're supposed to play both sides of the ball. I remember Yeah, Chris Rock talking about guys. Hey, I take care of my kids. He's like, that's what you're supposed to do, you stupid mother bleeper. What are you bragging about that? But yeah, so that's what you're supposed to play both sides of the ball. So that's what I like about Giannis. Now, as far as yesterday, yeah, I was wrong about Miami. I could tell you right now, the problem this Miami Heat team the last 2 years, just by watching the playoffs, they were out rebounded 63-39, and they have a tendency. They're 11 from 34 from three. Shot better from the 3-point range, but couldn't really get the ball inside. Atlanta, 16 for 27 free throw. Miami has a problem. They have droughts. You can't win in this league if you have long droughts. And you're depending on guys like Tyler Hero, who was very streaky. You can't be dependent on the jump shooting team like that. Yeah, Pickle says that was Hakeem also. So that's my thing about Miami. They're missing a player with Butler, and that is what it is. Kudos to Trae Young and that team there with the Atlanta Hawks. They got the 7. They're going to play Boston and probably get beaten 5. And I'll talk about that here in a minute there. Pickle says, here's an interesting stat, and I'll bring this up with Jeffrey when he comes on. Hakeem Olajuwon may be the other player, one defensive player of the year and MVP. The last team, guys, this is why I'm not high on Golden State. Some of the national media is real high on Golden State because they've got Andrew Wiggins back and they've got Gary Payton, the second back. I think it's his second or junior, whatever. They got Wiggins and Gary Payton back, and they are a 6 seed. Okay. The last time a 6 seed won the NBA Finals was the 94-95 Rockets team. Now, remember Jordan, that was a year Jordan came back in like March. It was not in shape. That Magic team beat them, but that Rocket team, led by a 32-year-old Hakeem Olajuwon that year. And that was Hakeem. He did a good job, the best he could on Shaq. Shaq was just an endless amount of energy, but the Rockets were just a little bit better that year in the finals. They beat that Magic team. Great final. Shaq coming into his own. Shaq had been in the league about 3 years that year. And, he just wasn't quite ready. Hakeem was just at the end of his peak there at 32 years old. But either way, I've got my guest here now, Jeffrey Deskovic. Welcome back to the program, man. How you doing? Oh, I can't hear you, brother. I don't know if your mic is muted. Can you hear me? Let's see.
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry about that. Yeah,
okay.
I'm good. How are you?
Can you hear me now? Good. Hey, man, good to see you again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on again.
Hey, man, I know you're a big NBA fan. I said I got to get him back on before this first round starts. I sent you that question about Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. What are your thoughts? Why didn't that work out, man? They're out of the playoffs now.
Yeah, they are. Well, let me say this. I think they're out of the playoffs because they want to be. I mean, look, they had to fall from grace. Nobody wants that. Yeah. Nonetheless, they could have actually played their players the last game and, possibly been a number 8. But I don't think that they thought that they could, beat the. I don't think that they were going to be able to beat Denver there in the first round. But that having been said, why it failed, it didn't work overall. I think that neither one of them guys, those guys, Luka and Irving, are awesome on offense, but they're kind of liabilities on defense,
to say the least, right?
Yeah, and then they gave up their best wing defender in that trade to get him.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of those cases where they gave up a bit too much. I suspect that this is going to just turn out to be a rental for them. I don't think he's going to re-sign. I mean, the word on we're on the grapevine, is that he may be going to Phoenix to try to team up with Kevin Durant again. I mean, I hope not for the Mavericks. You hate to see people, them give away a bunch of components and then someone just walks away. But look,
you think Kyrie may go to Phoenix? You think Kyrie may go to Phoenix?
I do think that he may go. I mean, Chris Paul is getting older, and so I mean, it's logical that he would fit there. I mean, I don't know if he would want to try to be a sixth man. I mean, I don't see how you can sit Chris Paul, even though I think Kyrie's a better player than him at this point in their careers. But it's kind of a lot to ask Chris Paul to come off the bench now. So he may need to be a sixth man. If he could be content with that for a year or two, I think that could be a good fit. But I don't know. Would Kyrie do that? I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think overall the team didn't play. Neither one of those guys plays defense. The team was never all that good on defense to begin with, and they gave up their best perimeter defender. So that's why I think that it didn't work.
Yeah, who was that? Dinwiddie?
It was not Dinwiddie was good. I like Dinwiddie a lot, by the way. I think he's
probably no.
Yeah. His name is leaving me now, but as soon as I stop thinking about it, it'll come. It'll come back.
It'll come to you later. Hey, let me run this by you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Dallas, since Luka has been there, this is a take that I'm just stewing over my head. They've changed coaches. Remember, they fired Rick Carlisle in 2019. They traded for Kristaps Porzingis. You know about that. And that's one of the reasons why we think they tanked. Obviously, they got that protected top 10 pick. They think they can get a top 10 pick now from that trade back in 19 with New York. That's a different conversation. So Porzingis didn't work. Kyrie didn't work. Luka admits he doesn't come in the best of shape all the time. Do you think maybe discussion with the brass there, Mark Cuban and everybody, maybe we can't find a guy for Luka, and I know he's 24 and everything. They could get a haul for him, Jeffrey. I mean, 7 or 8 first-round picks. You can get players. You could be set up for a while. What do you think about the idea of them even discussing maybe trading Luka?
I think you have to explore the option. I mean, either you got to put in order to be fair to Luka. I mean, either you got to put the right pieces around him, or you got to trade him. I mean, one of the two. Let him, and it is kind of attractive in a way to get a huge package back if you're going to get 3 or 4 established players, and then another 3 or 4, and really that's a lot. That's a lot for anybody, but that is what the market. I mean, look at how much Utah got, for example, for Donovan Mitchell. Was similar.
Gobert too, right?
Yeah. So I mean, Luka's better than Mitchell. I don't think anybody
7 or 8 picks. I'm thinking they could be 7 or 8 years from now, first round picks.
They really. Now in that scenario, I mean, they could. I think it would if he'd re-sign them. I mean, then you if you kept Kyrie. If you kept Kyrie. I mean, so because if you let both of them go, I mean, it depends. I mean, these players that you get back that are established, is it going to allow your team to still be competitive? Remember, with the two of them, you just missed the playoffs, albeit tanking. For the one. Denny
Finney-Smith, Corey. That's the guy you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Corey. Yes. Yeah. But if you miss the playoffs with them, and then you're going to get rid of both of them, even with getting a boatload of draft picks, I mean, that signals a rebuild. Fans really don't like to rebuild. What's that going to do to how your fans going to take that? What is that going to do to the morale of your players? I mean, what's the impact on the franchise value if you're giving up? So on one hand, it is kind of intriguing, but then on the other, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that really, what the downsides with how that would play out.
Yeah, yeah. And my thing is, if you can't, like you just mentioned, being an 8 seed at this point, they're like a 7, they're an 8, they're a 6 seed. They need to get to like a top 4 seed to win this thing. Do you want to be mediocre with Luka and putting a lot of people around him, or maybe you want to roll the dice and go out and get a boatload of picks? And I was just talking about Giannis. Giannis said he almost retired in 2020. Well, I think Giannis is probably I think he's the best player in the game right now. Defensive player of the year. Yeah, okay. Because some people don't, man, because they don't think he's skilled enough. But
he's in his prime, by the way, which Kevin Durant is not. Kevin
Durant, 28, I think, right?
Nobody. Yeah, right. Yeah, he's much younger than Kevin Durant. I mean, LeBron, clearly, phenomenal player, still playing at an incredible level. Nonetheless, nobody would argue that he was in his prime. Definitely on the downside of his career, just from an age point of view.
Right. But my whole point was, Giannis was picked at like 13 or 15. So it's you don't have to have these air quote lottery number 1 overall picks. If you got a good scouting department, they do. They found Luka. They can find some more great players. It just feels like that. I get a sense that Luka, you have to have a special kind of team around him. He wants to handle the ball all the time, man.
Well, that's the other reason why. I mean, he's ball dominant, and so is Kyrie. I think is another reason why it didn't work. But if they paired another star with Luka, but an inside guy, maybe like a nice center or a power forward, someone that doesn't have to be ball dominant. I mean, that could work. Another thing on Dallas's end, in conversations with Kyrie and his agent, rather than him just walking away for nothing, you could try to work it out where he'll consent to a sign and trade. Like when Kevin Durant left the Warriors, for example, he allowed them to do a sign and trade, which they parlayed into D'Angelo Russell, which they then wound up trading him. I'm trying to remember who they got back from him. I'm not sure. Was it Wiggins? I don't
Possibly,
remember.
Yeah.
It was much better than leaving.
It was a big part last year for them.
Oh yeah, Wiggins was huge. I don't think they win the championship without Wiggins, and that kind of is a nice segue. I mean, this is one of the more interesting first rounds in recent
Hey, let's start with that series. What do you think about that? They are there, and this is for my audience too, Corey. Corey's a huge basketball guy. They are actually favored as a lower seed to beat Sacramento in that series. And check this stat out. You could probably remember this, Jeffrey. In the last 6 seed to win the
Houston Rockets.
1994-95. Their oldest player was Akeem Olajuwon. He was 32. Steph Curry's 35. The media's jumping on. They are jumping on this. Golden State's going to repeat bandwagon. Your lead player is 35 years old. I don't know if they can do it this year, man. What do you think about Sacramento, Golden State? Can Golden State repeat?
That would be awfully tough. I do think they have the potential. They have that core group, and I can see why they would be favored. Despite being a 6 seed, it is kind of an anomaly. You harken back to the right analogy, by the way. I don't know how anyone else could have been able to do that. But listen, they do have the experience. And another thing is they're not really a 6 seed. I mean, they are as far as a record, but remember, they went significant periods of time without Andrew Wiggins. I have to believe that they would be much higher seeded if they had him. And they have all that experience. I mean, the 4 championships. I mean, Sacramento making the playoffs for the first time in 17 years.
That's right.
And then it's not. It's only like I remember. I think it's only like an hour and a half. By the way, from Golden State days to Sacramento.
It's 05-06. Yeah, Jerry Montgomery on his podcast.
I like Golden State. I like Golden State in that series. I mean, you got the Splash Brothers, and then they have Poole and Wiggins is back. I mean, they got four people, that can go for 20 or 30 on any given night. Some of them, certainly Thompson, Wiggins, and Curry could give you 40.
Yeah.
Could give you 40. So I like them in that series. I mean, I like Draymond as kind of being their playmaker, kind of doing a little bit of everything. I like them in this series. I think that is a very exciting series. I mean, I could see them pulling an upset there, although it's not really an upset in the sense that they're being favored. The betting lines are favoring them.
Yeah, something, man. They're such a young team. Do you think the Kings can win a game? Because they're very young.
Oh, yeah. No, they're going to win a game. They may win 2.
That's what I think. They'll probably be in 6 games for Golden State.
I think it would be in 6 games. Yeah, no, this is not going to be. I don't believe this is going to be a sweep. It almost reminds me of playoffs. I think it was 2 years ago when the Hawks were a lower seed than the Knicks, but they beat them, and that was kind of anticipated going into the series. So I think it's kind of a similar scenario to that. But that kind of brings me to the next series I'd like to opine on. I mean, that Knicks Cavs, that 4-5 in the East.
Okay. Yeah, we'll bounce around. Might as well stay in the West. But hey, you know what? Let's do that 4-5 with Cleveland and New York. You're from New York. What's the buzz like up there, man?
Yeah. So the buzz is like it all comes down to Julius Randle and can his
is he going to play in this series?
Right, but can he be effective? Can he play? Can he be effective? How good is his ankle? I mean, the feeling in New York, the buzz is that the Knicks can win this series. They can certainly keep it competitive. It's going to be really tight, but that's all being contingent on Julius Randle and his ankle. But that's another series that I could see I could see a lower seed potentially winning. I mean, that Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell matchup is going to be really fun.
Would you rather them get Brunson or Mitchell? I'm glad they got Brunson, if you ask me.
I am too, because I mean the amount that Cleveland gave up, to get him. I mean, this Knicks team would not be what it is. I'm glad they got Brunson.
Okay,
I think he's a better fit.
Yeah, plus his dad, they hired his dad. He's taken in this stardom thing really well. If I feel like, though, man, Cleveland's a better team. Listen to these players on Cleveland. Here's from my audience. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley. You remember Jared Allen from his net days.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, they are loaded, man. Plus, they got home court. I think they probably get it in 7, but they could go either way. I'm a big Tom Thibodeau guy. One of my regulars.
Yeah, Thibs
he doesn't
from
like
Chicago.
Thibodeau. He thinks he works guys too hard.
Jumping back to the West, there's a few series out there that are exciting.
But who do you like to win? Do you think the Knicks are going to win the Cleveland series?
If Julius Randle is healthy, then I like the Knicks. Without him, that's Cleveland. Could be short. Could be in 5 games.
Oh
wow! If there's no Julius Randle there's no healthy Julius Randle.
Let me ask you this before we leave this series. Do you think if they do lose, do you think that maybe this costs Thibodeau his job?
Well, no.
Okay,
no, I don't. No, but I think if Julius Randle is healthy and they lose in 5 games, or they get swept, then but there's not really any talk that he's really on the hot seat or anything like that.
Okay, I was just thinking about that. Hey, let's go back to the West now. What do you think about now? I'm out of Nashville. Memphis is actually favored over the Lakers. Lakers got the best record since the trade deadline. They got rid of Russell Westbrook. I actually like the Lakers if Pickles and Corey, I know they're watching, if Anthony Davis stays healthy, I think the Lakers can probably beat Memphis. Steven Adams has been out. Brandon, what's his name? Brandon Clark.
Ingram, right?
No, Clark.
No,
Ingram's
right.
with the Pelicans. Well, he's
right.
turned out to be a pretty good player. I guess they kind of regret that in a sense. What do you think about Memphis and the Lakers? What a series, man.
That's very exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
LeBron, John Morant.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers. Look, I think that it's certainly an exciting series to watch. You got the superstar powers there going on. I think maybe in maybe at clutch moments there they might possibly put LeBron on John Morant maybe the last 3-4 minutes of the game. That's certainly a possibility. I think the Lakers. I think they have a shot to. To upset them. I don't think they're going to get it done in the end, but I do think they'll keep it exciting. But they're certainly a live underdog for sure.
Yeah. And man, if you listen to Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless, the Lakers are going to the finals, and I'm thinking,
I definitely think that's kind of an exaggeration. I don't see them coming out of the West. You think they're going to come out of the West?
No, but and I know. That's kind of like a bit. And I know that Anthony Davis can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
LeBron's 38. As a player, I admire the way he's taking care of himself. But we put him and Anthony Davis as a 7th seed. Now, mind you, we just talked about the Houston Rockets being that 6th seed. Right. This league feels so competitive in the West, man. A lot of young, hungry teams. I haven't mentioned Denver yet. They've got 4 years experience. They've never been healthy enough to really put together a run with Jamal Murray and the Joker together. You want to start with that? What do you think about this Denver team, man?
Yeah, I think that they're for real. Jokic, incredible. What can you not say about him? And coming in first seed here. I think that they're solid. I don't see them getting to the NBA Finals, so I don't think this is their year. But I could certainly see them, winning a series or two.
Yeah.
I like the star power matchups on that Phoenix Clippers.
Yeah.
So you got Kawhi Leonard going against Kevin Durant, and and of course the matchup of the point guards
Westbrook versus Durant too.
Yeah, the so-called point god, Chris Paul, who swoons all the time in the playoffs. But you have him going against an extremely motivated. Oh my God,
the team.
No, the point guard that they got that the Lakers traded.
Westbrook.
Russell Westbrook. Yeah. No, yeah, because he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Big time chip.
He wants to prove himself, and and he's much more athletic. He's faster. I think he has a lot more energy than Chris Paul. So I think that's really going to be a very interesting point guard battle. But then he got Devin Booker.
Yeah, Booker's great, man. They haven't lost a game with Durant's when Durant's played with Booker, Ayton, and Chris Paul. They haven't lost a game. Now, of course, Chris Paul's 37, Durant's 34. It's kind of like the Golden State guys. You got to hold your breath.
You do, and I do think this is probably the last hurrah for Chris Paul. But the big question I have on Phoenix, and how excited I was about that Kevin Durant trade. And
that's a good call, man. They played better than I thought they would.
But the question though is, do they have enough around the floor? Is it do they have enough around the floor? Is what I think is going to dictate their playoff fortunes, both in this series and moving ahead as well.
Yeah. I think they.
Yeah, Booker can definitely shoot the lights out. Yeah. Pickles is completely correct. Pickles is completely correct.
Pickles loves the NBA, man. Especially that particular matchup is going to be a good one. Now,
yes.
Who do you like in? Now, remember, Paul George is out, so
yeah, that's that. Yeah, I think I like Phoenix in that. If they had Paul George, then obviously that would make a tremendous difference. Then they would have a shot. They would have a shot to upset them. I mean, I think it's an exciting 6-game series.
That's about what I said, because they're good enough to push it to 6. The Clippers are pretty deep, man. They got some athletes.
Yeah, yes, they do. They certainly do. Some of the other matchups, like that
Let's
Philadelphia,
see.
the Nets. I don't see that as that competitive. That may be a 5-gamer
Yeah, I
right
feel like
there.
that's
Maybe a
probably a
sweep,
sweep.
sweep,
Who do
probably a
you like
sweep.
for MVP? Do you think Embiid gets it?
Yeah, I do. I mean, he was certainly in the running the last couple of years. There was a good argument that he was
Yeah.
the MVP last year. I mean, are they really? And here he's right in the conversation again. Are they really going to not give it to him again?
Yeah.
So I think it will be. I do think it will be Embiid. I think he is the MVP.
Yeah. 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 I think they're going to play well. Now, Embiid, I was just talking about Giannis, and Embiid has played. Now, the new CBA, I love this new CBA, 65 game minimum to get anything like All NBA, MVP, stuff like that. Giannis, I think he only played 63 games, and Embiid did play 66. Giannis' team has the best record in the league. He has better rebound percentage, and he has a better assist. Embiid has got a 2-point edge in scoring. So if they gave it to Giannis again, I wouldn't lose any sleep for that particular thing. But if they gave it to Embiid because of he played more games, some people are still saying maybe the Joker could get it.
Yeah, but again, it was Joker eking out Embiid last year. Are you going to do that again?
The writers won't do it, will they?
I think that. Yeah, I think politics. I think politics says no. I mean, if I was building a franchise, I certainly would want my first pick to be Giannis and not Embiid. I don't think anyone would argue. Would argue.
Man, Embiid looks like he's out of shape. Giannis is like a specimen, man.
Yes.
He's a serious
I
guy,
agree with
man.
that. But the Embiid is almost like in a similar position to Doncic, in a limited sense that they've never really put enough around him. I mean, all these second round defeats. I think that's going to happen to him again this year. I mean, I don't see the Sixers being able to beat either the Celtics or the Bucks. Yeah. I mean, it would be nice, but so I think it's yet another second round defeat. They thought that they were doing that when they brought in James Harden, but they brought in Harden a couple of years too late. I mean, Embiid kind of alluded to that himself. And look, this is not the same. And that's what I like about Embiid,
he's honest, ain't he? He said that last year.
He did. He said, look, this is not the same. This is not the same James Harden from before. So there's still like a player. There's still one or two players away. So I see another second round defeat. I think clearly Milwaukee is going to come out of the East. I think. I mean, they almost beat the Celtics last year. And that
without Middleton, right?
Yes, they were missing him. Yeah, and they still that was an incredible series. And
was that a throwback? That was like the Celtics.
That was a Donnybrook. That was some real hoop.
You said that was Donnybrook.
Yeah, that was the real Donnybrook right there. That was really incredible series. And now Middleton there, I think that
was 80s, if you ask me, man.
Yeah,
Celtics and Pistons, 1987 or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
I love that. You know what? I'm still torn. I don't know. I'm still torn. I'm leaning Boston because they have matched up well against Milwaukee, even when Middleton is there. But I can't. I'm like you. The truth of the matter is, I think the winner of that series will probably win the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like the real NBA Finals. That was true in the West. That was true in the West. Everybody knew that the Western Conference Finals was really the NBA Final. Remember when they had the Kings? The Kings, when they had Vlade Divac, Chris Webber, they had Bobby Jackson,
Peja Stojakovic.
Yeah, it's Peja Stojakovic, Turkoglu as well. They had that really great team.
7-game series.
When they played against the Lakers in that 7, that was the real. Everybody knew that the Nets were not going to have a chance against either one of those teams, and then the Lakers, swept them, and so
that's exactly what I'm thinking, man. I tell you what, if Durant can hold up, I could see the Suns coming out of the West.
Yeah, I could
not, maybe a wild card.
Yeah, I could see the Suns. I could certainly see the Suns coming out of the West. I mean, Golden State would have a chance. I mean, depending, but see again, I mean, is Wiggins in shape?
Right.
That's
another for a while, man.
Yeah, he was out. He was out for a while. I don't know how much I don't know how much exercise he was doing. I suspect not much. And even so, scrimmages are not the same thing as a game. But if anyone could turn it on, at the end, it could be them. But I think those two teams, I could see them coming out of the West. Denver's certainly a contender. I don't think Sacramento was real. I mean, the first time going, I think they could win one or two series. I don't think the Boston Miami series is first rounder is going to be nearly as exciting or competitive when they were a Jimmy Butler 3-pointer away from going to the finals. I still don't understand that decision. I mean, I guess he's thinking, they're were tired, they were thin. I think there was foul problem. For the life of me, I don't understand at home, why did Jimmy Butler pull up for three instead of driving on Al Horford, to try to tie the game?
Yeah.
I still don't quite get that. I mean, I understand that mindset if you're on the road, not really at home. I mean, who doesn't think that Jimmy could have kept dribbling and just banged it over good old Al Horford?
That's my observation about last night, man. If you watch a lot of the Heat games, and when I watch them in the playoffs, they have scoring droughts.
Yeah.
And they have problems rebounding the ball. Bam is a really good player, but Clint Capella outplayed him last night, man.
Yeah, he did. And then Kyle Lowry proving to be, a terrible free agent signing. But I mean, who could predict
100 years old in basketball years?
Yeah, another one always like Antonio Davis hurt. I mean, what about Kyle Lowry? Always being hurt, and then other people, like Max Strutz and Duncan Robinson, just completely falling off the face of the earth. Although Duncan did that last year, which is how Strutz got playing time to begin with. But I think Pickles has the comment that he thinks that Boston will sweep. I agree with you on that, Pickles.
Maybe probably 5 because Young
maybe
can get
5, maybe 5. Maybe they might get 1.
Yeah,
but Jimmy Butler's another guy. They gotta get him some players around him, because I mean that he's a winner, man. He can get you over the top, but he can't do it all. He's a little bit short right now.
Yeah.
Embiid was never happy. That, how Butler. The two of them should get somehow, some way. Does
he request a trade, Jeffrey? If they get put out in the second round,
I think that he should. He should really think about it. I think that he should. I think Miami would be a nice place for him to go. I could see him and Jimmy Butler working. What about? I don't think he wants to go to Philly. But what about Kyrie Irving for Joel Embiid? Bringing Embiid to Dallas, outside. That would be an intriguing trade if it were to, if it were to happen.
Yeah, they would have to give more to get Embiid. That would be interesting, though.
Yeah, but
would you trade Luka for this phenom Victor Wembanyama pick if somebody had the number 1 overall pick? Remember, Luka's only 24. Now, Wembanyama's supposed to be a generational player. The Frenchman.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not proven yet.
And Luka,
not on the NBA level. And Luka is. I have to get more than that.
It will be multiple.
I have to get a hell of a lot. I have to look. That's a nice start, but I got to get more. I got to get at least 2 or 3 more things, maybe 4.
Yeah,
maybe 4 more things.
Yeah. Well, I know my friend Carlos. He's out of New York City. He said the same thing.
Well, I do agree with Pickles' comment. Yet again, he's pretty good. He's pretty astute, by the way. I got to say.
Yeah.
I think if Philly has yet another second round exit, I do think that I do think that Doc Rivers may be fired.
Yeah.
I would fire him. To be honest with you,
well,
I would.
I talk to a local guy all the time, Philly guy, Philly sports guys, huge Eagles, huge Philly, everything. And he's like, yeah, he's been criticizing Doc for 3 years now. And, at some point, all that talent, you got to make it play. That's your job as a coach, you got to make them work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I don't think it's worked out. I mean, nobody thought that it was, Doc was just going to get them to the second round. I mean, who aspires to that? Who aspires to that? I mean, we want to get conference finals, if not ring and finals or something, but it's too many second round exits. And I think that the Doc is done after this one. And I unfortunately don't see Philly. I don't see Philly getting out of the second round.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if Philly even won, I would be surprised if they took Boston 7. I would be surprised if projecting ahead to like a second round.
Well, you're definitely welcome to come back, man, and then second round.
I'd love to come back for the second. Let me come back for the second round, man. Then the conference.
Yeah, and let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Jeffrey. Talking about Doc Rivers, do you have an issue? I have an issue with the head coach talking about my player getting the MVP over winning. He's doing a lot of salesmanship with Joel Embiid, and I'm thinking, how about you just win more games, coach? Why don't you talk about getting the better record than a Milwaukee a month ago, right? Rather than talk, do you think there's too much talk about, and this is with Embiid and too, about getting the MVP rather than actually winning games, man? I just thought that rubbed me the wrong way, man.
I do think that. And look, I think you should just be focused on winning, and you'd be focused on playing as good as you can, improving your game, improving your team, and everything else will fall into place. But to make that into an object in and of itself, I think you're completely correct. And then you got people thinking more about stats, and maybe you're gonna take more scoring opportunities, some wild off balance shots, just trying to desperately get a couple more points in, as opposed to hitting the open man for the open jump shot, or So I completely agree with you. And then on top of that, I mean, what type of credibility do you have? I mean, what do you think Doc is going to say? You think he's going to say, well, no, actually, I think Giannis or I think Jokic is going to, I mean,
he can say, well, I'm worried about getting this team to win tonight, and that's coach speak, but at least it's getting the conversation back to, remember that game where Embiid had like 50 points and Doc was like, well, nobody else could score for us that night. And Embiid, it's hands down, he's got the MVP. I'm thinking, why did you take that question in that direction? How come he says, well, we've got to work on getting other players involved in the game rather than worrying about Embiid getting all the points? That means everybody else is standing around here not doing nothing. And that's my job. That's the way I handle that question.
Yeah, I agree with your take on that, and it almost makes me wonder, what is he saying? What did he say in the locker room? What is he saying in the huddles? Yeah, I mean, is there an artificiality of, let's really go out of our way to feed Embiid to the detriment of
right?
It's hard. It's hard to stay involved. It's hard to stay energized on the defensive end of the court and rebounding and doing the hustle plays. It's hard to stay energized to be involved in that. And it's just one guy scoring. You got to keep everybody involved offensively. And when you're overemphasizing like that, I simply, I don't think that's good for the overall. I don't think that's good for the overall team and the aspects that I'm mentioning.
Well,
I'm not sure if the whole. In fact, I don't agree. I don't agree with Chad's Collins's opinion here. He thinks Doc is selling the 76ers to play harder to win further in the play. I mean, I think he's more selling the MVP because I think he thinks that maybe that's the best route to keeping his job.
That's what I'm thinking.
Superstar aligned and happy with him.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And look over here. Hey, I got an MVP player. I got everything out of him, but we still get, like you said, we still get put out in the second round.
Yeah, exactly. Then interesting, Pickles references Mike Brown coaching the Kings, and of course, Mike Brown being on the bench as a helping head coach Steve Kerr, and in fact, so I mean that's another interesting interesting storyline.
And they usually play good defense, but not this Kings team. Don't play good defense.
No, they don't. And I think against the Splash Brothers, that's going to prove fatal. Defense travels with you on the road. Defense wins games. Offense comes and goes. So that is a problem for sure. With the Kings.
So you don't have any faith in Denver, huh?
Well, no. I think Denver. Well, I think Denver can go to the conference finals. I mean, I don't.
Okay.
I think they do. I think they have that possibility. I mean, I don't think they're going to go down in the first round like I think that the Kings are. But would you really expect? Would you expect Denver to beat Phoenix?
Well,
I would. I don't think
younger.
I would.
They are younger though, and maybe
that is true.
He's banged up.
No, they are. Yeah, no, they are younger, and it would have some really interesting matchups in that series as well. It's going to be from top to bottom. I don't even just looking at the play-in tournament. I mean, so many teams alive. A lot of people criticize the play-in with some validity, but on the other hand, I mean, we had excitement. We had excitement going.
The Laker game was exciting yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather have more teams alive. I think that's good for the game. I think it's good for the fans. Your team at least has a fighting chance. But but for Mark Cuban, he'd rather not get in the playoffs and play against the one.
He wants that 10th pick, Jeffrey.
He wants that 10th pick, man. Yeah. And if I was Luka, I would have I'd have a problem with that. I would have a problem. So in other words, this whole year I played, you wasted it. I mean, you didn't even let me get in the playoffs and see what we could do. I think they would have. I mean, it would have been hard to beat Denver, but I don't think it would have been. I mean, you still had the two superstars, but overall, you guys don't play enough defense anyway. But
yeah. Do you think they'll keep Jason Kidd, or do you think that maybe Luka may cost another coach's job?
Well, I don't think Kidd is going to get fired for this. I mean, really, this all their problem, going to Western Conference Finals last year and then dropping all the way down to not even in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think can be traced back to when they decided that they didn't want to pay Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
They didn't want to.
Cuban's backpedaling on that, but you're right.
They didn't want to. And honestly, I know it's going to be crazy to say this, but in a lot of ways, Spencer Dinwiddie is a much better fit.
Yeah.
Playing with Luka Doncic than what Kyrie Irving is.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need glue guys. You follow the Bulls more I did.
More hustle, more defense. Dinwiddie's going to score for you. He's going to give you 20 most nights. He's going to average 17, but he's also going to give you a lot of assists. So I think he was the better fit, really, than Kyrie was.
Do you see Luka changing his game like James Harden did? He changed his game. He become more of a point guard than a shooting guard. Could you see like maybe a Ja Morant and a Luka, somebody like that playing together where Luka plays off the ball?
That might I think that would be better for Dallas. I think that would be better for Dallas. But then the point guard that you put there has to be a true point guard. They have to think pass second, shoot first. I think that would help the team overall, but again, but I think also, I mean, Doncic has to commit himself to being willing to play defense. And that's the knock against most of the European players is that they don't They don't like to play defense. I think to get to the, how many years was Jordan, defensive player of the year, and getting steals and getting shot blocks and and putting in effort. I mean, I don't feel that Doncic puts in that much effort on defense. I mean, as awesome as he was against the Warriors, I mean, Andrew Wiggins lit him up.
Yeah,
he remember that posterized dunk.
How can I forget it? I was pulling for Dallas. I hate Golden State, man. Yeah, Pickle says Lillard's going to land somewhere. I mean, I don't know if that would work out. It's just,
he should leave. He's starting to grumble. You know where he would fit logically.
What,
so
the Knicks?
Lillard, logically, I could see Lillard. Lillard logically could fit in Miami.
Yes,
and they've got some players.
They need some more scoring.
Maybe Struts and or Robinson, and you throw another person in. I mean, they could conceivably get Lillard and Butler would be nice. Certainly Lillard on the Sixers. Although, who are they going to give up?
Right.
Who are they actually going to? Who are they actually going to give up? But I mean, Miami has a big need. I mean, they need to get rid of. They need to get rid of Kyle Lowry, just from a salary point of view. I mean, he has a big enough that they could absorb Lillard's contract with Lowry. I mean, the big salary. I mean, that could and they've got, like I said, they've got players that have performed in the past, that they could think that could turn things around. I think that's probably where. I think that's probably where he's going to go.
He's already made the comment he don't want to rebuild. He's like 32, ain't he?
Right. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. I could agree with him not wanting to. I could agree with him not wanting to rebuild either. I still remember when he pulled up.
Make a run.
Do you still remember when he pulled up to end that series? He pulled up from 30 feet on Paul George to the playoffs to propelled Portland over. Trying to remember who that was.
I thought they played. They played Denver back in 19 in a big. He had a big
like
shot.
That. But it was in the first. Yeah. It was. But it was a first round series, and I remember Paul George was guarding him, and he pulled up from 30 feet. He can't the damn jumper.
Hey, that guy. He's totally fearless, man.
Yeah.
You kind of get lost with a guy like that because he plays up there in Portland, but it's a great basketball town. We remember the Trailblazers in the 90s.
Oh, my God. Clyde Drexler, Kevin Duckworth.
That 2000 team. How about that?
That team. They made 2 NBA Finals appearances. I mean, I still don't understand how they lost Game 6 at Chicago against the Bulls. I mean, heading into the fourth quarter in Game 6 on the road. It's the NBA Finals. You win, you go to Game 7, and they're up 15. They're up 15 to start the fourth quarter. You can't score 10. You can't get another 15 points. That's 30 points there. That's not enough to hold them. I still don't understand how. I don't understand how they lost that 6th game. I don't understand how Terry Porter didn't didn't completely dominate and overpower John Paxson. I mean, look at the talent gap differential there. Right?
I totally forgot about that. Only thing I really remember is that Game 1 Jordan had where he had all the threes.
That's 7 threes. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was really unstoppable that year, MJ.
Yeah.
But what about the 2000 team?
They had Jerome Kersey back then
Clifford,
too.
Something.
Cliff Robinson. They had
the headband.
Kevin Duckworth. That team. Then the year they lost to the Bulls, they had Danny Ainge coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he won Game 2 for them coming off the bench with canning some unexpected threes.
Of course,
but I don't understand how that
goes way back. Walton in '77, they won that year too.
Yeah, that's really Pickles really went back on
he
that
goes
one.
back to no. Well, what about the team that had Scottie Pippen?
Scottie Pippen, Rasheed
team,
Wallace, Arvydas Sabonis.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
son's playing for the
I
Kings.
still remember that team.
Yeah.
They were that was another team. They were down 3-1 to the Lakers after Sabonis did that stupid drive to the basket, trying that finger roll, which was rejected. He had a 7-footer had Kobe Bryant block his shot of all, as two guard blocks the center shot of all things at the end.
Had a 25-point lead in Game 7, Jeffrey.
Yeah, yes, everybody leaving them for dead in that series, down 3-1, yet coming back, having that huge lead in Game 7, and yet not getting it done. I mean, that was another team that.
But it's a good basketball town, but they just could not get Lillard anything. Man, that's the end of the hour. Appreciate you hanging around here, Jeffrey. Do you got anything you need to plug, man?
Yeah. So yes, I do. Yeah. So, so my organization, Jeffrey Deskovic Foundation for Justice, which of course frees innocent people and pushes policy changes aimed at preventing that. We have our first gala dinner coming up on April 22nd in the city of Hudson, which will be a Saturday. It's from 5 to 8. So Hudson is in upstate New York, so you can get out of the city on a Friday, enjoy a nice weekend up in the country, upstate New York. Highlight of which could be our gala dinner. 100% of the money goes towards freeing innocent people. Believe it or not, I actually am an innocent person. I did do the 16 years prior to being exonerated through DNA testing, that being 16 years ago, using some of the money to start the organization. And of course, being a lawyer and sports being really a key thing that helped me survive my ordeal while I was wrongfully incarcerated. I wrote in the op-ed section of Sports Illustrated, Point After, which got published there, which I actually used when soliciting you to come on Sports Scope.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, it was good stuff. But thanks for having me on. It was such a breath of fresh air to be able to talk some sports and not stuff regarding my story. Important as that, and the advocacy is, it's nice to not be pigeonholed and so just come and talk sports and have some fun and laugh and do analysis and get ready for some fun times in sports.
These next 2 months are going to be great, man.
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
I think there's going to be a lot of 6 games and 7-game series. I only got one sweep in the first round. So usually the first round, it's usually a lot of sweeps, but it
usually is. But I don't. This year is going to be unusually exciting. A lot of excitement heading in. I think it's going to be competitive series, and can't wait to hear some of my favorite color commentators again. All right, for 100 points, and I'll go with this. For 100 points, I'm going to say this go-to phrase by one of the more colorful color commentators, and for 100 points, you're going to tell me who said it, and you say the man's name and then add the phrase "for the win." Yeah. Okay. All right. Right between the eyes.
What? Pickles may know. For the win, is that what it says?
Well, I want you to say the color commentarian's name, put his name, and then say the phrase "for the win." This color commentator always said with people when players get hot and they making shots from all over the place or making a ridiculous amount in a row or just overall shooting an otherworldly type of percentage, he'll say right between the eyes.
He thinks it's Marv Albert.
No, that's a good try, Pickles. Very good try.
Oh God, Mike Breen?
No.
Okay.
Mike Breen likes to say "bang."
Yeah.
Marv Albert. Yes, and it counts.
And the foul.
That's Kevin Harlan.
TNT.
Kevin Harlan. I get to see it. Kevin Harlan. Do his thing. One of the more colorful.
I actually look forward to the halftime with Shaq and Barkley.
Oh yeah, plus the post game, Shaq and Barkley, Ernie Johnson, Kenny the Jet Smith, and if you listen, those guys they'll teach you a lot, man. They'll teach you a lot, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for having me
man.
on the
Yeah.
We'll send me the link. I'll help you promote as well, and I'm looking forward to coming on for the second round.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Have a good one. Hey, thank you, crowd. Good crowd tonight, man.